What's up, guys? Jordan McAbee here, fantasyracingonline.com, home of the Slingshot Fantasy Auto Contest. And it's Texas kicking off the round of 8 with the Autotrader EchoPark Automotive 500. God, I hate stupid, long race titles. It reminds me of those dumb race titles that they had with the Indianapolis when we raced at the Brickyard. It's like 20 words long. The big machine vodka 400 presented by Florida Georgia Line, blah 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 at the Brickyard, like just stupid. Anyway, Texas this week, mile and a half track. It was repaved before the 2017 season, so anything before 2017 you can completely throw out the window. It's a low wear mile and a half track, similar to Vegas that we've ran at twice this year, similar to Kansas, similar to Charlotte. We have 4 races at over those tracks, 2 races at Vegas, 1 at Kansas, and then the Coke 600 at Charlotte. Got another Kansas race next week, but first Texas is coming up. Most comparable is probably going to be Charlotte. The lowest wear overall. We were really looking to compare super low wear tracks, and Vegas and Kansas tend to be a little bit. They wear tires a little bit more. Yeah, Texas. We also ran the All-Star race here this year. So we can take a look at that data really quick before we get into the other stuff. So I'm really worried about, it's hard. I don't think it's very smart to look at or average running position for the All-Star race because things were shuffled so much with all the, all the breaks and all the re-racks and everything else. So one thing about this Texas race on Sunday, it's 500 miles long. This is going to be the longest mile and a half. Typically, mile and a half races are 400 miles. Coca-Cola 600 miles. This one's going to be 500. So we should see the cars that are fastest on the long run really do well in this race as long as they have track position. So I like looking at drivers fastest in the long run and also green flag speed overall. So in the All-Star race, Byron had the best green flag speed. He faded late and ended up finishing 7th. I remember that well because I think I bet on him. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott were 2 and 3. Kyle Larson won the thing. Ryan Blaney was up there, as he typically is at these mile and a half tracks. Always very good at mile and a halves, low wear mile and a halves. Denny Hamlin was 5th, finished 21st. I don't remember what happened, but the typical players, the only surprise is Kyle Busch didn't do too great. He was 9th, finished 9th, and had the 9th best green flag speed. Basically this week, and we'll get to this in a little bit, there's basically like the big 3 that are the contenders this week. It's going to be Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Kyle Busch. And we talked about this. RotoDoc and I talked about this on the Stacking Denny's podcast this week. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. All major platforms. It's on YouTube. You can find it. It should come down to those 3. There's no reason to think it won't. You could sprinkle in some Byron probably. You could sprinkle in some, maybe Ryan Blaney gets up there and steals it. Truex possibly, but if everything goes to plan, if everything goes like it should on Sunday, it's going to be Kyle Larson, it's going to be Denny Hamlin, it's going to be Kyle Busch, who are also starting 1, 2, 3. They're the best in this package. They're the best on the low wear tracks this year. There's no reason to bet against them this weekend. Fastest drivers late in the run in the All-Star race: William Byron, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney. Typical guy. Like, this is pretty much the same thing as green flag speed. We'll go back and look at the data from last year's Texas race here at Texas. If you remember that one, it was the one that it started raining. They didn't throw a caution. Kevin Harvick had the field covered by, I think it was like 2 mile an hour when I was watching. He was significantly faster than everybody else, which was the case last year. And Harvick owned this track for a while. Of course, started raining. He was the first car to hit the wet surface. Went up, hit the wall. Didn't destroy the car, but definitely, definitely messed it up. And that kind of, once they finally got restarted, that was the one that was delayed due to fog and weather overall. Once they finally got restarted, he made his way back up to the top 5, but eventually faded a little bit more. Kyle Busch ended up winning it. I think they ended that race on Wednesday, but anyway, so green flag speed from the Texas race last year. Martin Truex Jr. was number 1. He finished 2nd. Blaney, number 2. He finished 4th. Boyer was up there. Alex Bowman, 4th, finished 5th. Kyle Busch was 5th on green flag speed, ended up winning the race. Harvick was still, he finished 16th. He had the best car in that race. There's no doubt about it. Would have dominated it from start to finish if the rain didn't come and he didn't slam the wall. Fastest drivers late in the run. Kyle Busch was really, really good on the long runs here last year, and that's what helped him win the race. He also stretched his fuel a little bit. It kind of came into play at the end. But you'll notice here, look at this. Finishing positions. Fastest drivers late in a run. The fastest car late in a run finished 1st. The second fastest car finished 2nd. The third fastest car finished 3rd. The 5th fastest car finished 4th. The 6th fastest car finished 5th. The only thing sticking out here is Boyer, and I think he had fuel problems or something. I don't think they got the car, fully full. Long run speed and being fast late in a run is important at Texas and in this 500-mile race. So just keep that in mind. That's definitely a stat you want to pay attention to this weekend and look into when it comes to looking at the other low-wear mile-and-a-half tracks and the 550 horsepower races overall. Taking a look at the low-wear mile-and-a-half tracks this year, best average finish, Kyle Busch 2.5, Chase Elliott at 5.5, Brad Keselowski 5.8, Denny Hamlin 6.0, Kyle Larson 7.8. There's only 4 races in this data set, so if one driver has a bad race, that can definitely bring it down, and so that's why I like to look at average running position, get a better idea of where these guys are running. Best average running position by a wide margin is Kyle Larson on these tracks. Average running position at 3.4. Kyle Busch right there at 6.2 in second best, but definitely, almost 3 full positions worse on average. Denny Hamlin 6.7, Chase Elliott 7.1, William Byron 7.2, Keselowski's up there at 8.8, and then Harvick at 9.9. Looking at the 550 horsepower package overall this season, this is going to take 10 races into account. So we're looking at, and not all these are super comparable to Texas, but it's 550 package. So you want to get an idea of who's running well in this package. And 10 races in 2021 is a very good, it gives you a ton of data. It's easy. You can, numbers can be kind of misleading with only 3 or 4 races in the data set. When you get to 10, it's pretty damn clear. So best average finish, Kyle Busch at 3.7. Kyle Larson's there at 6.9. Nice. Denny Hamlin 7.5, Byron 8.5, Ryan Blaney 9.1, Kevin Harvick 9.3, and Truex at 9.9. Average running position, and before I say this, so the 10 races we're looking at in this data set, the 550 horsepower package, we're looking at Homestead, which is high wear mile and a half, the 2 Vegas races, the 2 Atlanta races, again, high wear there, the Kansas race, the Charlotte Coca-Cola 600, 2 Pocono races, which, like I said, don't compare very well to any of these, but they were 550 horsepower, so I threw them in there. The Michigan race, which we're running a similar tire, or maybe even the same tire combination this week. But that's a 2-mile track, so somewhat comparable, not super, but those are the 10 races that are in this data set. Best average running position over those 10 races, Kyle Larson, 4.7. Kyle Busch, 7.1. William Byron, 7.6. Denny Hamlin, 7.6. Martin Truex Jr., 10.1. So on and so forth. A lot of the same guys. Ryan Blaney, 10.3. We know who's good. We know who's good in this package. We know who's good at low-wear tracks. And we know who's good at Texas. So it shouldn't be a huge surprise that my algorithm this week, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, 1, 2, 3, and by a good margin here. You look, Kyle Busch is at 35.9 in the power index. Next best, Ryan Blaney at 30.77. It should come down to Hamlin, Larson, or Kyle Busch. That's just how this is playing out. And if nothing crazy happens, which we can't guarantee that's how it should play out. Projecting Blaney to finish 4th, Chase Elliott 5th, Martin Truex Jr. 6th, William Byron 7th, Kevin Harvick 8th, Keselowski and Logano rounding out the top 10. One thing to note, Logano's really struggled on low wear tracks and in the 550 horsepower package this year. So definitely something to keep an eye on, with his playoff standing and where he's at there. He could be someone that maybe struggles on Sunday, and it's going to surprise some people, but when you look at the data, it really shouldn't. Like, we'll take a look at this really quick. So this is the 550 horsepower package. Logano has an average running position of 12.8, which is 12th best. Not great. And then average finish of 16.3, which is the 16th best. You look at the low wear tracks this year. Average finish for Logano on the low wear tracks, 13.5, which is 13th best in the series. Average running position of 13.1, also 13th best. They're just not running well in this package. They're not running well at low wear tracks this year. So, just something to keep in your head when it comes to making picks this weekend. Starting lineup, got Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch starting 1, 2, 3. Like I said, those guys should contend for the win. Ryan Blaney starting 4th, Logano 5th, Chase Elliott 6th, Keselowski 7th, Truex 8th. Those are the 8 playoff drivers. Some notable place differential plays. William Byron is starting 12th. He's shown top 5 to race winning speed in several mile-and-a-half races this year. No reason to think he won't bring a similar car this week, even though he's eliminated from the playoff contention. Kurt Busch, who is very good at getting top 10s here at Texas, he starts 17th. Kevin Harvick starts 24th. Ross Chastain starts 25th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 27th. And then, you have your typical guys, Corey LaJoie, Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Newman starting back in the late or the high 20s or low 30s. So not a lot of surprise there. Now, when it comes to lineup construction with the Slingshot game this week, there's a lot of ways that you can go with this. And I don't know what exactly I'm going to do yet. So I do like the fact that Kyle Busch is priced at 11.8, starts 30, has a little bit of upside. I think he can win this race. I think he can get stage points without having to get those, he has no place differential upside or barely any. So he has to get those stage points for it to make sense. So I do like throwing Kyle Busch on there. I still think Kevin Harvick can be a top 10 car. Starting 24th, that's great place differential upside. I don't hate playing Kevin Harvick this week with the place differential. I do think a lot of people are going to play him. I don't mind pivoting to Truex, who we just talked about, has shown long run speed here at Texas, and it seems like Joe Gibbs Racing has a little bit of a stranglehold on Texas Motor Speedway right now. So I don't hate playing Martin Truex Jr. at all this week. Second here last year, you look at his fall finishes, which are the playoff races, 2nd, 6th, 9th, like he's solid here at Texas Motor Speedway when the pressure's on, and there's no reason to think that won't happen again. So like I said, I don't mind pivoting to Truex, but to be safe, I'm going to throw Harvick on here for now. Like I said, William Byron, I wouldn't call him safe just because he's starting 12th, but he has a ton of upside. He can run top 5. He can challenge for the win. He can get stage points. I like the price of William Byron there at $11,300. Starting 12th, has some place differential upside. I think he's a very solid play. So I'm going to throw Byron in this lineup as well. So right now we have Harvick, Kyle Busch, Byron. I do think it's going to be wise to go three of the bigger, higher priced guys this week, just because of how mile and a halves play out, how Texas plays out. I think that's a good way to go. Like I said, Kurt Busch, he starts 17th. He's $8,400. I like Kurt Busch, so he just, for some reason, he just has a knack for this place. Look at his finishes: 7th, 8th, 9th, 9th, 7th, 7th, 9th, 10th. He has 8 straight top 10s here. Even back here, like, he's just been solid. When you look at low wear tracks this year, Kurt Busch not getting the finishes, not running extremely well, but still, he starts 17th. It's not like he's high priced. He did finish 8th in the second Vegas race, which is the most recent mile and a half low wear track. So I do like to see that. In the 550 horsepower package this year, Kurt Busch Average finish of 15.8. It's significantly worse than his average running position, so you can tell he's maybe hit some bad luck or had some kind of issues. But Kurt Busch, in the 550 horsepower package, he finished 8th in the second Vegas race. He finished 4th at Michigan. He won at Atlanta 2. Finished 6th at Pocono. He finished 8th at Homestead. I think Kurt Busch is going to be solid this weekend, and I don't mind playing. Like I said, I don't mind playing him in this price range. Of course, you could always go Austin Dillon, who's been very good in this package and at mile and a half this year. He should be about a top 12 car. That's where he's been in the 550 horsepower package. We take a look at average running position of 13.0 for Austin Dillon, average finish of 14.1. You go over to the low wear tracks, average finish of 10.3, average running position of 12th. So taking a look specifically at low wear mile and a half this year, he finished 13th in the second Vegas race. He finished 12th in the first Vegas race, 6th at Charlotte, 10th at Kansas. He can pull off a top 10 this weekend. He has won here at Texas before, a little bit more on a strategy play, but still a win's a win. Finished 11th here in the fall last year. 5 straight top 15s here. 3 of them are 11th or better. I don't mind Austin Dillon either. If you don't feel 100% safe playing Kurt Busch, go with Austin Dillon. It's another, he starts 2 positions better, but he has similar upside. So for now, let's throw Kurt Busch on here. That's going to have 4 drivers in this lineup. We got Harvick, Byron, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch. Leaves us $6,300. I'm probably going to go Corey LaJoie here, with a lineup like this. LaJoie this year, he hasn't been super consistent on the lower mile and a half, but he did finish 19th at Charlotte, and that's worth something to me. Looking at the 550 horsepower, LaJoie, where you at? Not good. But really, building a lineup like this, you're just hoping he moves up a little bit and gets you some points. You could go I don't even like going Alfredo, but he has similar numbers to LaJoie. Newman does have 3 top 20s in the 4 low wear mile and a half tracks. If you trust Newman, I don't know if I trust Newman. He finished 20th and 18th in the 2 Vegas races, and then 16th at Kansas. He finished 27th at Charlotte. 550 horsepower this package this year. Ryan Newman, average finish of 21.2, average running position of 20th. It's maybe you do go Newman. He does start a little bit further back. He's not gonna. It's Ryan Newman, and it's you're not expecting a whole lot in this price range, and that's just how it is. One thing you could do is pivot down to, if you don't want to go Kurt Busch or Austin Dillon, and you still want these 3 guys up top, come down and grab Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who starts 27th. He finished pull this up real quick. He's actually pretty solid in this package. Average running position is 17.9. Top 15s in every single race except Pocono 2, Atlanta 2, and Kansas, which he had issues in all of them, and he finished mid-30s. You take those out, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hasn't finished worse than 17th in this package this year. You go to the low wear tracks in 2021, the low wear mile and a halves. Stenhouse average finish of 18.5, average running position of 16.3. He finished 17th at Vegas 2. He finished 11th at Vegas, 12th at Charlotte, and then, of course, Kansas, 34th. He had an issue. Those are pretty solid numbers for a guy starting 27th in this game. That leaves you an extra $500 to work with here. You can come up and grab someone like Ryan Preece if you don't feel good with Ryan Newman, or Michael McDowell, or if you feel good with Ryan Newman, it gives you more flexibility with the guys up top. If you want to hit Newman, and you don't want Harvick, you want Larson. And if you don't want Kyle Busch, and you go Truex to get a little bit of place differential there, You could do that. Or you could stay with Kyle Busch. Or you could go to Chase Elliott. I mean, if you don't want Larson, you can go to Hamlin. There's a lot you can do with these roster construction this week. Let's go ahead and, I still think it's a good idea to take 3 of the top, like above $10,000 guys this week, just because they're mostly the playoff guys. They should finish up front. I don't think hitting several in this mid-range area of like Austin Dillon, Kurt Busch, Stenhouse is a good idea, because I don't think they're going to get stage points, and they could get a top 10 or a top 15 and get some place differential points, but it's better to get those stage points with the guys up top and potentially get a top 5 finish or even a win. So that's why I'm gravitating more toward a roster build like that with the guys up top, and then getting, a Ryan Newman down here or a Corey LaJoie or an Anthony Alfredo, and just hoping they don't wreck, hoping they don't blow up, and and hoping that you're the guys that you have up top, the Larsons, the Harvicks, the Kyle Busches, the Truexes, the Hamlins, get the points that they should, and nothing crazy happens to them. Because if that happens, then you're going to end up with a pretty good score in this game, and then we'll move on and do the exact same thing at Kansas, because that's another low-wear 1.5 mile track. So, yeah, I think it's going to come down to Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, or Kyle Busch. Maybe surprised with William Byron, maybe some Blaney, and like I said, you can never really count out Martin Truex Jr., can you? I don't want to jinx him. I haven't wanted to jinx him in a while just because I've bet on him for the championship and to get to the Final Four. But I'll take a Martin Truex Jr. win to lock himself into Phoenix this week already. So good luck with your fantasy picks this week. Like I said, I think it's going to be – this should be a normal race. I'm hoping we don't get some of the weird stuff like we got at Vegas a couple weeks ago. But you never know when it comes to NASCAR this year. A lot of races have not gone to plan. But if everything goes to plan, I think we know pretty much well what to expect. So good luck with your picks. If you have any questions, just let me know. And if not, I'll see you next week when it comes to Kansas. See ya.